Good afternoon, it's me, Gracie, and one of the most popular questions that I seem to be getting a lot lately is how to hand feed your roses. For us at our farm, we have a pretty robust fertigation system, meaning we feed our roses through our irrigation lines because we have pumps where they disperse the product into our irrigation with water. However, for many years, when I was a gardener, I hand fed my roses and I hand fed them obsessively, pretty much at least once a week, sometimes more than once a week. And so I became just very into hand feeding my roses. I had some other contraptions that I used as well to feed them. So here we have a Valero rose bush. This is a Floribunda. As you can see, it's loaded in buds. It has not flushed yet. So we're in the middle of May and this plant is just getting loaded up. So I'm going to use two products right now. The first product I'm going to use is alfalfa pellets, and these alfalfa pellets are something that we only apply in the spring because it's a little bit of like a pain to do it more routinely. You really have to water these in very, very well if you put them down around your roses. And for us, we live in a dry climate. We don't get rain during their growing season. So it's not something that we would put down more than once. So these will have to be watered in. So essentially, I'm going to take, this is a mature plant. It's been in the ground for 2 years here. I'm going to take about 2 to 3 large handfuls of this and put it right up around the base of the plant. Just going to do 3. Throw it in there. And that's the first step. And so if you don't know, alfalfa is a nitrogen-based, it's feed. And in my alfalfa has made our roses grow very, very well, very rapidly. It greens them up really beautifully. The other product that I'm going to use is called Max C. Ignore the dirty bag. So we buy this in 50-pound bags. So that's what you're looking at. And so this is the one you need to be a little bit more careful with because although this is a great product and it's seaweed based, it has very high levels of concentration. So for a young plant, you want to use about a teaspoon, which is what this is. And I would describe a young plant as a plant you planted this year or a plant you planted within the last 12 months, especially like an own root rose that may be on the smaller side anyway. I would use smaller amounts. For this rose, since I know that it's well established, it's been here a bit, and I know that I'm not going to over fertilize it, I'm going to give it 3 teaspoons, which is basically like a tablespoon. So just 3 sort of heaping tablespoons. So this is a dry product. It's water soluble. So the way that we use this is that we load it dry into our tank, our mixing tank, and then it's mixed with water and then dispensed out into our irrigation lines. This is the exact product we use. There we have some other products we use as well, but they're all water soluble. That's the important part of this. So just like the alfalfa, I'm just gonna throw my Max C down around my bush. And instead of just turning on my irrigation, because I do have a drip line on this plant and I have a emitter, instead of just turning on my irrigation, I'm going to use the hose because I just put down product that really needs to be watered in very well. So you don't want to rely upon your irrigation emitters to do that because those are slow. They don't have a lot of pressure. So you really want to use the high pressure of your hose. And so just gonna water it in well. It's also a good time to make sure that your rose has either like a moat or just a way to keep the product close to the plant. You don't want the product like rolling away, right? This stuff's expensive, your time is expensive. So you wanna make sure the product is really getting down into the plant's roots. So the best way to do that is to water in the direction of the plant. Water very well. You can't overwater right now when you're doing this. And just make sure that you're like not on a slope, but if you are on a slope, that you have something to catch the water. Most of our roses have little moats around them, very shallow, only like an inch, but it helps keep the product close to the plant. This is also a good time to give your rose a bath when you're hand feeding. Give it a little bath. If you see aphids, you can give them a little spray to get your aphids off. I wouldn't do this in the evening because you don't want your plants to go to bed wet, especially if you live like where we do, where we have cool evenings, because if you put your plants to bed wet, they're more prone to disease. But giving them this nice little bath, roses love showers. They love to have fresh water on their leaves, especially rainwater. There's something in rainwater that they just adore. Our roses always grow like leaps and bounds when they get rainwater, which is very rare because it doesn't rain during our season. But this is about good here. I'm seeing that my alfalfa has broken down, and that's it. So like I said, the alfalfa just in the spring. If you want to do it like before your fall flush, I would say okay, do it before your fall flush. But the Maxi or any other granular organic or water soluble fertilizer is perfect for hand feeding. Use your teaspoon or your tablespoon to older, larger roses with established root systems, teaspoon to younger plants, until you can gauge as the gardener if the plant has matured enough to take more fertilizer. And I may be going out on a limb on saying this, but in my experience, which has been quite a bit, even with hand feeding, I fed every single week when I hand fed. At that time of my life, I lugged around a 50-gallon trash can, a drum, and we sunk a sump pump into it. And I just made like a witch's brew. So of seaweed, kelp, fish emulsion, all the things. Although those products that can be sticky, like fish emulsion, I probably wouldn't recommend using any kind of siphoning device like a hose. We certainly would never put fish emulsion through our irrigation system because it could clog it up. So it's really important if you do use a fertigation system where you're going through your pipes that you use something that's very water soluble that will flush straight through. So this plant is ready to go. It's going to get fertilized again on our irrigation the next time we fertilize. I know we fertilized like 2 days ago, so we will probably fertilize like on Monday next week. And throughout our whole season, it'll be every single week. And that's how we keep them big and green and healthy. And like I said, the little shower that I gave it, I feel bad now because I didn't give these other roses a shower, so I'm probably going to do that because the others are going to be jealous. But that's it. Super easy. You can't mess it up. Just go slow with your fertilizing amounts. If the plant is young, go a little harder. If the plant is more established, but every week is fine by my book. And I've never killed a rose from over fertilizing, especially when you're using really good product. I wouldn't use a synthetic granular or like Osmocote or Scott's synthetic. I would use a plant-based organic or an organic product for weekly fertilizing, just like Maxi, but just make sure you have your amounts right. And that's it. Thank you.